Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ACW Newscast. I am Hakeem Johnson, your ACW commentator, as always, and we've got a lot of ground to cover on this edition of the newscast. So, we're going to be talking about, first of all, your questions that you sent me, and I will be answering hopefully every single one. Hopefully we don't make it to be a 2-hour extravaganza once again, but, never say never. I always say these things, but I end up doing a long newscast. Oh, and by the way, just to give you guys fair warning, I have some delicious chow mein. Next to me. So, if I sound like I'm eating, that's probably because I am. And if it sounds like I'm enjoying it, it's because I am. Okay? Alright. We're also going to talk about the whole situation involving Hulk Hogan and my thoughts on that. But I want to first of all talk about something that transpired this past week. Now, as I think some of you guys know, a lot of ACW fans know, I do commentary for another colleague called Destiny Championship Alliance. And we just had our mega event Proving Ground 2, which was on Friday last week. And the reviews and the reaction for that mega event have been for the most part positive. And I couldn't be any more proud of that. First of all, I want to give D-Wall all the thanks in the world for bringing me into DCA in the first place. I was following DCA a little bit before D-Wall even asked me to do commentary for that league, and it's been a fun ride for me so far. D-Wall has really been putting the effort and work into making DCA something, and he really deserves all the credit for it. I was trying to tell him no, thank you for giving me the opportunity. D was all like, why are you thanking me? Because I'm like, because you put forth your vision, and it took a while to get there, but you eventually did it, and now people know what DCA is. People know what DCA is all about. You know, the Mega Event Proving Ground 2, it couldn't be any more of an appropriate name, because it just wasn't for the wrestlers that night. It was for the league itself. It was for us. It was a proving ground. That mega event was a proving ground for us to show the call world that DCA is not going anywhere. That DCA is going to be one of those leagues that you look back and say, I remember when DCA was struggling, and now it's one of the best leagues out there. And I'm proud to be a part of that team. I truly am. And what I will say is that you can't please everybody. I think we all know that. You can't please everybody in this world. Otherwise, it's an ill-fated goal. You just can't. But what you can do is make people come out with something. At least make people come away with something from that event. And before I even had to go to work on that Friday, I couldn't even stay for the whole live chat, unfortunately. But I was seeing even the usual suspects there. Even they were trying to nitpick. They were trying to find any way to make Proving Ground 2 something that we should be ashamed of, and they couldn't. At least not from my perspective. I actually wrote, or more so typed, a post on Facebook. I don't know if some of you people saw it, but I posted a little bit of a mini rant or revelation as in terms of what Proving Ground 2 and DCA meant to me that night. And I'm just going to read it verbatim right now. I want fans, critics, and supporters and haters to read and understand. Tonight, DCA Wrestling was put on the map. Period. We've come from an unknown call league to one of the fastest and hottest leagues today. I've been in call for about a decade. I've seen leagues rise to the occasion, and others fall hard to the bottom. DCA had its struggles and problems like any other league, including mine. What Proving Ground 2 became tonight wasn't just for the wrestlers. It was for DCA. We have made strides, and we aren't going anywhere. You want to be a fan? Fine. You want to be a hater? Fine. We're going to shine on regardless. Better get on the train before no seats are left, because there are no brakes on this train. DCA, we're here. Stay cool. And when I posted that on Facebook, I meant every word, because as it mentioned, I've been doing this for almost a decade. Next year is going to be ACW's 10th anniversary. And I just realized how much I've given back to CAW and how much CAW has given back to me. And I've seen colleagues have so much potential and ultimately fall by the wayside. I've seen cause that had no chance and faltered anyways. I've seen colleagues that looked bad at first but were able to make certain changes to become better than what they were. And I've just seen colleagues strive from the start. I've seen them all. I've been through the years of CAW for my 10 years here. So I find it funny that there are certain CAW leagues and CAW owners that think they know what they know about CAW, but they don't. And I'm usually quiet. I usually just let them hang on their own rope, but it's gotten to a point where people don't focus on their own leagues or what they can do to fix their own leagues. It's always got to be somebody criticizing somebody else. It's always got to be somebody criticizing the CAW league instead of focusing on what they need to do for their own league. It's always people trying to put themselves over. It's always people trying to become marks for themselves, and they know who they are. There's a lot of people in the CAW world that are marks for themselves and for their league, and there's no problem with being proud of your league. But when it comes to the point where you're trying to put yourself over everybody thinking you're hot shit, people are going to call you out for it, and rightfully so. And don't get butthurt when someone does it. Don't get jealous. But my whole point here is that DCA was put on the map on last Friday night, with Proving Ground 2. You had a great matchup with Malik Brown and Anthony Lewis for the DCA World Title. Dante Styles and Zach Stone just had a all-out brawl, probably one of the best brawls I've seen in CAW in a while. The triple threat match between Lacey Adams, Danny Gibbons, and Morgan Raincroft for the women's title, only for Amber Stevens to return, only for Pyra to make her DCA appearance, and just everything all in between. I don't want to spoil a lot. There was a lot of surprises, debuts, shockers, and great matches all around. If you have not seen Proving Ground 2, if you've not seen that mega event yet, I advise you, I implore you to go check out Proving Ground 2 this week. I really do. Because, honestly, that's the mega event people will look back to and think, this is where DCA started shifting the tide. And it's only just our first mega event for this season, for our second season. You haven't seen anything yet. So I do implore a lot of people to go to the DCA YouTube channel, and I'll even put a link on the subscription if I remember. But go to the DCA channel and go watch Proving Ground 2. Me, Josh, and Carter did commentary for it. We just had a blast doing it. We just marked out. Those are, for the most part, though, that was our genuine emotion going through the commentary. So I just want to thank Josh McLeod, Cornelius Carter, D Wall, Malik, aka Loudon Styles, Nathan, Smokey, Steven, and all those other guys. I want to just thank them all for putting effort, along with myself, putting effort into DCA to try to make it one of the best leagues out there today, because we believe in what we do. So that was Proving Ground 2. So make sure, I'm telling you guys right now, make sure you guys go watch Proving Ground 2, please. I really implore you. Okay, now my mouth's getting dry. I'm gonna have some chow mein for a minute. Give me a second. This is really rude. I don't care. I tell you what, chow mein may be one of the best creations of all time, and I cannot stress that enough. One more time. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Alright. Up next, I want to talk about this whole Hulk Hogan situation. Wow. I've got a lot to say about it, honestly. I'm going to try to condense it. I might dwell into it on the later newscast, but I do have a lot to say about it. Wow. For those that don't know, Hogan, about half a decade ago, or more than that now, had a sex tape released with him having sex with Bubba Love Sponge's ex-wife, I think, or wife, or whatever. Who cares? And apparently we didn't get to see the whole video and footage and audio of that sex tape. For the record, I never saw it, because I don't watch that shit. But um, it's not. It's more so what Hogan said, more so than what he did, that is causing an uproar. And I'm gonna try to see if I can find the transcript of what he actually said. Let's see here if I can find it. Um, let's see here. Yeah, okay, I found it. All right. Now, I'm going to read the entire transcript of what Hulk Hogan said. Now, for those, and that means I'm going to be saying it uncensored and raw. So, if you feel offended by the words that are coming from this transcript that I'm about to repeat, then you can mute your volume, or you can just skip maybe a minute or two from this and come back with us to the discussion. But for the sake, the purpose, and the context of this whole situation and the transcript itself, it is within my due diligence to say the entire transcript verbatim without any editing. So, again, if you feel offended, you might as well mute it now, but I'm going to start it right now. So, this is what basically Hogan was caught saying during that whole sex tape. Yeah, here we go. Now, this was rumored to have been leaked by Radar Online. BuzzFeed, I think, was involved with it. Gawker was probably involved in it. And fuck Gawker. A lot of people know why I say it, but fuck Gawker. But here, it says the reported vulgar and racist statements were apparently directed at his daughter Brooke, who he accused of sleeping with a black man. Now, Hogan is quoted as saying the following, and this will be uncensored. She is making some real bad decisions now. My daughter Brooke jumped sides on me. I spent 2 to 3 million on her music career. I've done everything like a jackass for her. The one option Brooke had, Brooke's career besides me, is to sell Beach Records. They claim Hogan was mad because a black billionaire guy had offered to fund her music career. Then they quoted Hogan as saying, I don't know if Brooke was fucking the black guy's son. I mean, I don't have a double standard. I mean, I am racist to a point. Fucking niggers. But then, when it comes to nice people and shit, and whatever. They claim he's later said, I mean, I'd rather if she was going to fuck some nigger, I'd rather have her marry an 8-foot tall nigger worth $100 million. Like a basketball player. I guess we're all a little racist. Fucking nigger. Woo! Yeah, folks. That was what Hogan was reported to have said during that whole sex tape. And apparently there will be more audio be released. There's going to be more audio released about this situation in the next coming days during this whole Hogan-Gawker lawsuit that's been going on for a couple of years now. But the story broke. I believe the story broke on Friday. And it was a breaking news because I actually was staying awake doing some ACW video editing, and I just saw the news as it was coming by. WWE pretty much fired Hogan. They are distancing themselves from him. Hogan is no longer one of the judges on Tough Enough. There's reports that Ric Flair or Bret Hart might be replacing him on Tough Enough. There are no references to Hogan on the website or on the WWE Network. Rock and Wrestling, that whole cartoon series, has been taken down. Hogan's profile has been taken down. His merchandise has been taken down. Apparently, any Hulk Hogan related projects that the WWE was working on have all been halted and will be ceased to exist. There have been rumors, not confirmed, but there have been rumors that Hulk Hogan may be removed from the Hall of Fame. There have been reports that Hogan has been taken off WWE 2K16. And I'm even hearing reports that he was taken off as a downloadable character for 2K15. Now, we need to look at all factors here. We need to look at every single factor, because I'm seeing a lot of people make some ignorant remarks and points about this. First of all, let's start with Hogan. who's obviously the centerpiece of this whole situation. The question is going to be ultimately, will Hulk Hogan be able to recover from this? And quite honestly, as more stuff continues to come out making Hogan really look bad, and in just the whole society in general that we live in today, I really have to say no. I don't think Hogan can recover from this. Hogan has done some pretty shady things in his past as a wrestler. You know, you heard all the stories of him holding people down, playing politics, having more salaries than the others, having his own locker room, all that stuff. And then we heard his whole divorce saga with his ex-wife Linda and all that stuff. But none of that compares to what this is, though. None of that compares to this. And in today's society, there are two types of people you do not want to be accused of being. And they start with the letter R. That's either a rapist or a racist. And in today's society, it's too PC. Today's society is too politically correct. You can't even make a joke about race or religion without somebody getting offended and reporting that to somebody to make sure you shut up and never say that again. That's kind of the society we live in today, because people don't understand context. Context is a lost art form in today's society. I'll give you an example. I was talking to one of my brothers about this, and we were talking about the N-word, nigger. We were talking about that. We were talking about the discussion about that, and he was asking me if a person were to come up to you and say nigger, would you try to fight back? And I responded, and I gave him a surprise response, and I basically said I wouldn't, because if you look at the context, if a guy, let's be honest, who is white, crossed me and said, and as I keep walking, I can hear him say "fucking nigger," I'm not going to just go like, "What did you say, motherfucker? What'd you say? Beat your ass," because that's the type of reaction that he wants. That's the type of reaction somebody like him is expecting me to give to validate his point, to validate his purpose. Me reacting that way to him will give him unnecessary power that he does not know how to control. So if someone were to call me a fucking nigger while I'm walking, I'll keep walking. I might laugh about it, because I know I'm not that. I know I'm not that. So why would I be angry, and why would I react in such a way that would make people assume that? Which is wrong within itself, but give me a second here. Why would I want to react that way? And prove his point and make him look better than me when he's not. You just keep walking. That way he has no power over you. That way he makes himself look to be ignorant, as he already was anyways, but he looks to be more ignorant, and he realizes that that type of reaction he was expecting he didn't get. And maybe he was the one that screwed up. But if I were to be walking past that same guy, and the guy walks towards me and assertively says "fucking nigger," I'm gonna beat his ass, because he's invading my space. He's invading my space. He's invading my whole tranquility. He's becoming a threat verbally, which can become physically if I don't stop him. That's the difference. That is context. And I'm getting at this because, related to the Hogan thing, I'm seeing a lot of people post that video back in 2005 with Vince McMahon telling John Cena, "What's up, my nigga?" And Booker T having that genuine reaction, which it was a genuine reaction if you listen to certain podcasts Booker T's done about that whole situation. People are making it to be like, "Oh, well, WWE and Vince McMahon are hypocrites because Vince McMahon said Vince said nigga on WWE television." While Vince and the WWE are hypocrites, don't get me wrong here, they are. That's not the proof to use it for. That was clearly a satirical skit. That was clearly a satirical um, scene of an old white guy trying to be cool with the hipsters by using that word, thinking it's okay. That was the whole point of that segment. It wasn't meant to be actually out of hate or you know out of spite. You get what I'm saying? So when people use that example, it's two different things. That tells me people don't understand context. So with Hogan, Hogan's probably not going to be able to recover. Granted, it's still Hulk Hogan, by the way, folks. The biggest name in wrestling. Had it not been for Hogan and Hulkamania, mainstream wrestling probably wouldn't be what it is today. Keep that in mind. But I really don't see Hogan recovering from this. They're gonna run him through the ringer. I've been hearing this story on ESPN, on ABC, on NBC, on Fox Sports, CNN. I'm hearing it on all the big networks. Now, granted, like typical mainstream corporate style state-run media, they're gonna forget about this in about a week or two and go on to something else that they want to fake outrage about. But this is a problem for Hogan. But I'll tell you what, Hogan's not the only person that this is a problem for. And that it turns my attention to the WWE. I don't mind the WWE. I don't mind them for distancing themselves from Hogan and trying to stay away from Hogan at all costs by not mentioning him. I understand that. This is kind of a hot topic that you don't want to really touch. This is kind of a situation that you don't want to really associate yourself with. And I understand that. If you wanted to fire Hogan, not mention him on WTV, maybe even get rid of all his mentions on the website, fine. I understand. But when I'm hearing reports that you're trying to get him removed from the WWE Hall of Fame, that's what I call bullshit. Because if we're going to do that, if we're going to remove Hulk Hogan from the WWE Hall of Fame, then let's remove Donald Trump, who has been saying a lot of outlandish, semi-racist statements towards Mexicans and the immigration debate. If we're going to be on that criteria, then Donald Trump should be gone. Arnold Schwarzenegger should be gone because he's a known womanizer and adulterer. Mike Tyson is a convicted rapist, yet he's still on there. Abdullah the Butcher, who has been known to give hepatitis C to a lot of his opponents for all these years, is in the Hall of Fame. Is the Honky Tonk Man in there? Because if the Honky Tonk Man is in there, then he needs to be out too. Because it's a personal story. I want to just tell you a personal story. My trainer, some know I'm actually a wrestler, but my trainer told me a story that he once wrestled Coco Beware at a local indie show a few years back, and Honky Tonk Man was in attendance. And my friend got all these accolades from Coco Beware, saying that you were one of the best sellers that I've ever had to endure. And Honky Tonk Man came up to my friend and congratulated him, gave him a lot of props, saying you're a good worker. But then once my friend went to the bathroom, he ended up making contact with Honky Tonk Man, who was in the bathroom as well. And my friend thought it was comfortable enough that, WWE wrestling legend Honky Tonk Man, he asked Honky Tonk Man if, where are we drinking tonight? Where are we going to be drinking after the show? Are we going to be going anywhere? And Honky Tonk Man said, "What the hell, kid? I don't drink with your kind," and walked off. And when he told me that story, it just put a lot of things in perspective about society. He was willing to give you credit and congratulations on that match with Coco Beware, but when it came to hang out and drink after the show, you don't want to do that because you don't drink with this kind of people. So, when you look at the WWE, it's a product in its own self. Because the WWE, although it's not racist, is definitely racial. This is the same WWF, WWF, WWE, whatever incarnation we're going to go with here. This is the same company that had Boba Brazil back in the 50s, one of the most over talents back then when it was Capital Wrestling Federation, and yet he was paid lesser than the white athletes there. This is the same company that had a very over babyface in the Junkyard Dog, but he could not even get a transitional championship. Even if it was for 3 weeks, he couldn't even get that. This is the same company that had a gimmick called the Slickster, that he's a jive soul bro, and he was eating fried chicken. This is the same company that had Kamala, the Ugandan giant, with the lips that Africans have, stereotypical Africans have, nose rings, paintings, slapping his belly like all stereotypical Africans do, right? This is the same company that allowed Roddy Piper at a WrestleMania to go out there against Bad News Brown, half blackface. This is the same company that paired the late, great Dusty Rhodes and Polka Dots, paired him with a black woman named Sapphire. And you go do your research on why that's a bad thing. The same company that had Ron Simmons, who was the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, down in the dirty South. So you get him and you bring him into the WWF, and the first thing you do is you give him a Spartan gimmick. Then when that didn't work, you make him a black militant leader, but you couldn't give him a run for the title. Especially in 96, 97, when the WWF was not only getting their ass kicked by the WCW, but the WWF was bleeding money to the point where it was almost looking like bankruptcy was going to be inevitable for that company. So Farouk, during the height in the mid-90s of racial inequality and racial separation between a lot of people and a lot of races back in those times, you couldn't give Farouk a title run to see where that can go and see if he had it. You know, this is the same company that with The Godfather, I love The Godfather, we all love The Godfather, let's be honest here, The Godfather was your stereotypical pimp, pimping out white hoes. Same company. And now you even look towards the present right now. You look towards present day WWE in 2015. You've got 3 talented, intellectual black people in Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. So what do? You put them all together, and you make them this preachy, church-going, clap your hands, shucking and jiving group called New Day. If anybody wanted to know why I hate that gimmick, it's not because the gimmick sucks, because it does suck. And it's not only just because it saddles those 3 guys into that gimmick because they deserve so much better, but it's because it's clearly, maybe not blatant, but subtly racist. Because you assume that all black people together go to church and do that. Even the primetime players who are the current WWE Tag Team Champions, millions of dollars, it's just shucking and jiving. Granted, I mean, I like Titus. Titus is probably one of my favorite entertainers in that company right now, actually. When you have him bark like a dog or is that the best you can do? This man was a Divisional I collegiate athlete, and that's the best you can do for Titus O'Neil. People ask me, well, maybe it was because the black people aren't as talented to be getting a WWE World Heavyweight title shot. And I've heard that argument before. So you mean to tell me that Bobby Lashley couldn't get a title run with that? You're telling me that Ron Simmons couldn't get a title run? You're telling me the Junkyard Dog couldn't get a title run? You're telling me that Shelton Benjamin couldn't get a title run? And don't say, well, he didn't have the mic skills. Well, Randy Orton doesn't have mic skills either, and he's been getting title runs for like a decade now. But Shelton Benjamin couldn't get one? You're telling me that Big E Langston can't be built up right now to be a future WWE champion? You're telling me that Titus O'Neil can't be built as a future contender at least? No, I don't accept that. And frankly, I gotta be honest, if you're a black man or woman that is aspiring to be a wrestler, With the exception of money, why would you go? With the exception of money, why would you go to the WWE? Why would you go there knowing that they're not going to give you that type of respect and dignity for what you want to be for that company? No, they look at you as black and they get any type of stereotypical black gimmick or overextended to something that it's not, to where it's almost cartoonish. And that's offensive. And trust me, I'm not one of those people that call racism every time I see something. I'm really not one of those guys. Because I hate when the race card is pulled. Because every race pulls a race card. Don't ever let that be disputed. Black, white, brown, yellow, polka dot, doesn't matter. They all pull a race card. But I will call it out when I see something that is clear to me. When you have someone like Michael P.S. Hayes still in your company, and everyone kind of acknowledges that he is somewhat of a racist. When you still have Vince McMahon, who may be living in Connecticut, but he's still a Southern boy back in the good old boy system. It's like that company's never going to change for the better. And by the time they do it, it'll be too late. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let's face facts here. The black athlete dominates sports in this day and age. They have for years now, maybe decades. But the black athlete dominates in sports. You look at football, you look at basketball, you're starting to see it in baseball now too. You look at soccer, you look at, well, kind of golf, not really. But you're looking at all these, it's tennis, with Serena Williams, you're looking at a lot of these sports here. The black athlete is becoming something not only as, profitable, which is in a way its own kind of racism, but that's neither here nor there, but it's not only profitable, but it's also recognizable. But yet the WWE in 2015 still cannot be able to bring itself to find them a black WWE champion. So you're telling me that Seth Rollins can't defend that title against a Big E Langston for once and see where that goes? He can't defend it against, say, Titus O'Neil and see where that goes? You can't give Mark Henry maybe one last run with that title for all his work he's done for that company? Is that what you're telling me? It's mind-boggling. Because that company is not going to change until Vince is out of there, and Kevin Dunn's out of there, and Michael Hayes is out of there. And even I'm kind of skeptical with Triple H as myself, because as much good as Triple H has done these past couple of years trying to get the company into somewhat of a respectable shape for the future, one of my biggest marks with Triple H has always been his feud with Booker T that led up to WrestleMania 19. That is one feud that I will never forgive Triple H for. And he could have clearly vetoed it. He could have clearly not said any of it, but he was fucking the boss's daughter, so I mean, he could do whatever he wanted at that time. But the lead up to that match, even when I was a kid, I just looked at it and I was like, wow. 5-time WCW champion Booker T comes into the WWF, and that's the respect that you give that man. For all he's done for wrestling, to be one of the more recognizable faces at that time, after the invasion. That's the best you can do for Booker. To have Triple H come out and ridicule him, saying that he has nappy hair, and that people like him don't deserve to be at WrestleMania, let alone be WWE champion, and all this bullshit. Like Triple H has room to talk, when everyone will tell you, Jim Cornette included, will tell you that Triple H was never the one to make money. The person that Triple H feuded with was the one that made money. Triple H was there for the ride. And yet Triple H has the nerve to say people like him, like Booker, don't deserve to be in the main event. Go fuck yourself. I've never been able to forgive Triple H for that, and I probably never will, because that told me just how much that company thought about a respected wrestler and athlete in Booker T. So, for Hogan, as much as Hogan screwed up about the situation, because he won't recover, for the WWE to say that they promote diversity and they spread equal opportunity is a bunch of bullshit. Hell, this whole Divas Revolution that's going on, they only did it because of the whole women's soccer mania that's going on. That's the only reason why they debuted it. Why couldn't the NXT Divas debut the night after WrestleMania? Why couldn't the NXT Divas be out there way sooner than they already did? Why did it have to take a trend? Why did it have to take a sort of phenomenon, I guess, for you to do something to make you look as if you care? Because I know we're all marking out, and we're all excited about what the NXT Divas can do. And trust me, I'm with you. I'm with you. Because Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks, they've been a breath of fresh air for that division. But you know better. At least you should. Give it 6 months and ask yourself if you're going to be feeling the same way afterwards. The answer's probably going to be no. Because that's what they do. They don't know how to create stars anymore. They don't know how to build stories anymore. They don't know how to create angles. They don't know how to even produce shows anymore. That's kind of how bad the WWE has gotten. For all the knock you want to give for TNA, and they deserve it. For all the stuff you want to knock ROH for, and they deserve it. WWE is no better than them at this point either. Mainstream wrestling sucks right now. Yeah, they'll give you a little sprinkle here. They'll give you a Brock Lesnar sprinkle here, an Undertaker return there, and all that other good stuff. They'll give you a, 30-minute match on Raw to make it seem as if this is the greatest show ever when it's not. But at the end of the day, you're just accepting mediocrity. That's all it is. You're all accepting mediocrity. And for the WWE to promote diversity and say that as if we don't know, as if we are going to accept that, or I hope we don't, it's completely insulting. And the WWE is going to have to lie in this bed because they have created this environment for their company for over 50 years now. They've made that bed for 50 years. Now they're going to have to lie in it for a while. They're going to have to accept responsibility on this one. There is no bailout here. Because as wrestling fans are starting to know a lot of things about the business, they're going to start digging in on things that the company's going to have to defend itself for. Now, what I do not agree with, though, is Hulk Hogan being completely written off WWE, period. Because at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan is the biggest name, the biggest star, the biggest wrestler in the wrestling industry back then and still today. You can ask any non-wrestling fan, even the average person that doesn't like wrestling at all, and if you can ask them, what is one wrestler? What do you think about, or who do you think about when I mention pro wrestling? For the most part, there's going to be two answers. The Rock or Hulk Hogan. Maybe Cena, maybe Austin, maybe Savage, who knows. But those two are main ones, Rock and Hogan. But I'm guaranteeing you that Hogan's winning that one anyways. Because Hogan was the WWE, and the WWE was Hogan back at its peak. You can't just erase 15 to 20 years of that just because of this incident. Okay? Hulk Hogan isn't Chris Benoit. He didn't kill his kid and his wife. At least with that whole Benoit situation, I can understand why you take him out. That's completely justified. But with this situation with Hogan, to equate this to the Benoit situation with the way you're handling it is ridiculous. And like I said, you're trying to remove him from the Hall of Fame. Again, ridiculous. Acknowledge that Hogan is Hogan. Just don't talk about him anymore. You have that right to not talk about him or not acknowledge him or not mention him in today's climate of the WWE. That's fine. But don't erase history when that is the biggest star you've ever made, that has ever made money for you. Because that makes you no better. And it doesn't make you no better than Hogan when you do that. So, those are my thoughts about that whole situation. I'm probably going to have more to say about it if more starts to come out about this whole Hogan situation. I will be talking about it more if it does come up, but it's not good. It's really not good for Hogan. And honestly, it's not good for the WWE. And it's gonna depend on how whichever party handles the situation better. So, there's that. Alright. That was a long kind of thought process there, but you know me, I like to talk about that kind of situation. Not a lot of people in the YWC, not a lot of people in the IWC talk about race and wrestling because it does exist. I mean, what was it? I think like maybe Solo Monster, OTRS Central slash Schleg Daddy. They're the ones that really talk about these type of issues when given the chance. But and myself, I'm not trying to compare them to those two, but I talk about it when I can. So, all right, got some chow mein. Just calm myself down. All right, some of your questions and comments here tonight. I want to thank everybody for giving me your questions and comments this week. You guys gave me a whole lot of questions, and I will be able to answer hopefully all of them. No promises, but I will try my absolute best because I love you guys. You can say it with straight face. I'm just kidding. All right, let's start with Eric Ortiz Torres. Let's see. He asks, I mean, I can understand Tension keeping Samurai Jack as he drew First Blood, but why Ike and Marth? Ike could get better Guardians. I don't know. You have to talk to the JSA about that. I really don't know or care about their business. I'm kind of just tolerating it right now. Let's put it that way. Although, if you did not watch Impulse 64, my hopes have been a little bit higher now that the Dark Magician returned and took out Gohan and ruined that whole wedding ceremony. Thank God. And yes, I did throw up during that wedding ceremony. Are you kidding me? I got a video package to watch. They're all kissing. All this ass kissing from Tenshin Ayeka. Made me sick. The one period that I want to come back to do Impulse commentary, and I have to witness that BS on my second week back. Ugh. Glad the Dark Magician came back. Although I don't know why the Dark Magician attacked Gohan first. I don't know why he targeted Gohan, but I'm assuming this week on Impulse we'll get an answer for that. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. Kavaja Humphrey asked, with Dark Magician returning from a 6-month injury and we don't know who put him out of action, what's next for Dark Magician, even knowing he holds the Road to Destiny briefcase? I don't know, but that's a good point you brought up. Dark Magician did win the Impulse Road to Destiny briefcase at Animania 3 last year, so he has until Animania 4 on December 18th to be able to trade in that briefcase for an Impulse title shot. So it may be that Dark Magician came back to make his point that he has the briefcase that he can trade it on Gohan anytime he wants. But I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming there may be something more to that. But again, we'll have to find out this upcoming Fighter Saturday on Impulse. And the second question was, has ACW Board of Directors made a wrong decision to strip Goku as GM, even if we have to put up with the JSL all the way to Animania 4? Again, I still stand by what I said about that. I think the Board of Directors were wrong on stripping Goku from his GM duties. I mean, Goku, there may be arguments that he did some unethical things to preserve the health and longevity of this brand. But let's be honest here, folks. Compare it to right now. Compare Goku's run on Impulse to right now. It's way worse right now. The JSA are a cancer. Now, granted, the Jirain Saint Alliance, I don't even think it can be argued, and anyone arguing it is pretty much being a moron at this point, or a mark. But the Jirain Saint Alliance are the most dominant group in CAW today. That can't even be disputed. That really cannot. And I hate giving credit to them. But the JSA, in 6 months, have made their mark on CAW. The JSA have put themselves on the forefront as the most dominant, dangerous group in CAW today. And again, that cannot be disputed. You just really can't. Like, stop marking over yourself. You just really can't defend that. I mean, deny that. So, it's way worse right now with them running Impulse. But we'll see. Hopefully the light at the end of the tunnel is there very soon rather than later. Adrian Gonzalez asked me, what do you think of The Undertaker returning and facing Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam? Quite honestly, I'm okay with it. Granted, I'm not okay with how Lesnar was the one that ended the streak. Looking back at it with retrospect, Lesnar should have not broken the streak. If you were going to break the streak, then have it when it was Undertaker's retirement match. To give that important accolade to a Brock Lesnar who's only part-time, it did really nothing for Lesnar, let's be honest. It really didn't do nothing for Lesnar in the long run, except give us a part-time world title reign. That's really all it did. When Undertaker's streak was broken, it should have elevated to something of higher proportions. And it just didn't happen with Brock Lesnar. It just didn't. So with that said, I'm fine with the Undertaker coming back and going after Brock. He kind of needs to do that, although he should have probably done that at WrestleMania, right? I mean, I don't know why he had to face Bray Wyatt when Bray Wyatt's just kind of floundering. So, but Taker's back, fine. At the match at SummerSlam, it better be better than WrestleMania 30. So let's be honest here. I mean, let's take away the moment from that match. Do you remember anything from the match, period? Not really, because it was pretty bad. I know Undertaker was hurt during that match, but it was still kind of bad before that. It's gonna main event though. I don't see any other match main eventing SummerSlam other than that match, so that's fine. But hopefully we get a good match out of it. You would hope. And I'm hearing the Undertaker is gonna be doing like a Mexico tour in the near future this year, so for Undertaker to come back at WrestleMania, to come back at SummerSlam to do a match, then do a Mexico tour, then there's rumors of him and Sting maybe teaming up for Survivor Series, leading up to their inevitable match at WrestleMania 32. This is starting to seem like a farewell tour. Yeah, that sounded weird. This is starting to sound like a farewell tour for the Undertaker. I really do think that. I think 32 in Texas next year is where the Undertaker will finally rest in peace. And hopefully, if everything goes to plan, I will actually be going to Texas to watch my favorite wrestler of all time retire with grace and respect. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan. You heard it here, folks. And yes, there will be photos and videos if I do go. So just keep that in mind. Hugh Goncalves asked, will ACW hire a stable that can stop the JSA once for all? I'm getting sick of them. Well, yeah, I've been sick of them for quite a while, too. So, as a stable, though, I don't know. Just, it's like, you've got people doing their own thing right now. You've got the Dark Magician returning, going after Gohan. You got Ryoko trying to start her own revolution against Ayaka. You've got Naruto Sagat going after Frieza and Broly. It's just like, there's ACW wrestlers going after them. It's just not a united front, if you get what my drift. It's like, everybody's going their separate ways to attack the JSA. It's not a united front like it was before Fusion. It is. I think it's because when we lost that Fusion, that really demoralized the ACW locker room to the point where unity wasn't getting them anywhere. So they have to fight their own separate battles with the JSA. So that's just kind of the way I see it. Hopefully they can hopefully the ACW wrestlers can kind of think that that's not the right thing to do. That's something that they don't really necessarily need to think about. If I'm saying that right, but yeah, that's how I think. All right, let's see more questions as I eat my chow mein. I'm telling you, this chow mein is the greatest, man. I'm sorry if I'm really eating chow mein during this newscast, but I don't care. This is good shit. Alright. Alright. Gary Connell Jr. asked a couple questions, obviously. Question 1. What is your take on award shows nowadays? I don't like them. I haven't really watched award shows in a long while. Like, I won't watch a full show. If a moment happened during one of these award shows, I might check it out on YouTube later or something like that. But all in all, I don't watch award shows. They're just nothing more than popularity contests. It's not so much about talent. It's not so much about talent and skill anymore. It's just about popularity and favors. That's all it is. Especially with the music ones. He also asked, what are your thoughts on the current state of wrestling in WWE? I kind of just mentioned that during my Hogan rant, but WWE kind of sucks right now. You've got You got some sprinkles here and there. You got the NXT Divas Revolution here. Taker and Lesnar looks to be good from what I'm seeing right now. You got those things. You got some matches that you can look forward to, but all in all, it's just not a good product. It's just really not a good product to watch right now. I haven't watched a full Raw in a while. I don't watch SmackDown anymore. If something did happen on SmackDown, I'll check it out later. But I don't watch SmackDown fully anymore. I don't. SmackDown is pointless to me now. There's no point for SmackDown anymore, honestly. If you're not going to make it a live show on Tuesdays, there's no point in doing SmackDown anymore. I'm hearing it's going to be on the USA Network next year on Tuesdays. Fine. But when that novelty wears off, what are you going to do to show for it? I don't watch any other the WWE shows as well. The only things I watch from WWE at this point are Raw and the special events, quote unquote. And even I don't watch full shows of those. I don't. Like, I'll be off work at like 9:30 from work, and then I can be able to catch maybe an hour of Raw. So maybe I don't have to bitch so much about it. But I can't watch 3 hours of this shit anymore. I can't. I honestly think that oversaturation of the product of the WWE is becoming a major problem. Like, you need to get rid of SmackDown. You just do. Because SmackDown right now is nothing more than a Raw recap. It's just a Raw redux. That's all SmackDown is. You need to get rid of it if you're not going to do anything with it. You need to cut Raw back to 2 hours. Because the 3-hour experiment is not working anymore. I know you did it because of advertising and you wanted corporate sponsors to sponsor your program to get you more profit and money. I understand all that. But your product is suffering greatly from it. Because you watch a 3-hour Raw now, what makes it different from a 3-hour pay-per-view or special event at this point? Like, I watched Battleground. All Battleground was a special edition of Raw. That's all it was. There is no difference between the two anymore. So you might as well just cut down Raw to 2 hours and space everything out. But that really just, it sucks right now. Let's put it that way. You got some hopes here and there, but it sucks right now. That's my opinion. Question 3: current hip hop beefs on Twitter. What are your thoughts on it? Kind of bitch made, and I think I know you're referring to the whole thing with Meek Mill and Drake right now. Yeah, pretty bitch made. Back in the days, back in the 90s, because I'm a 90s kid, I was born in 91, but back in the days, if you had beef, you would put it on wax. You would put it on the record. You would address your problem, your beef with that dude on the records. Sometimes those beefs got too personal, and it would lead to the streets. Ask Tupac and Biggie. Well, you can't, but you get the point. So beef used to be real. Like, beef used to be about if we can be mad about us discussing it on the track. And if it is what it is after that, it is what it is after that. But you don't go on Twitter and hashtag beef, and you don't fucking cry bitch made. I'm not the biggest Drake fan. I'm not the biggest Drake fan. I mean, I like certain songs from Drake here and there, but I'm not the biggest Drake fan. I think he's a passive aggressive, and he can be a bitch sometimes. A simping ass bitch. That's what I think Drake is at times. But the irony is that I'm on Drake's side with this whole thing with Meek Mill. Meek Mill is ironically acting like Drake in this situation. He's being a snarky little bitch about it. He's acting because Drake didn't shout him out on his record, so Meek Mill had to say, well, he doesn't write his own tracks, which is fine. I mean, Drake's gonna have to kind of address that anyways, which he kind of did, I think, from this diss track. But so what? Some of the best rappers have had ghostwriters. There's probably a reason why they're ghostwriters, because they have the lyrics, they just didn't know how to present them. That's why you get the other rappers to do it for you. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, they're beefing right now, I guess, if that's what you're gonna call it in 2015. But yeah. Last question. Since you're taking a break from WWE, what do you expect from SummerSlam? I didn't say I was taking a full-on break, because in that case, I've been taking a break since last year then. But I'm probably going to stop watching less, because the way they screwed over Kevin Owens pissed me off. And where are all the Cena defenders? So where are all the Cena defenders and wrestling hipsters that were coming on here saying, "Oh no, Owens tapping out at Battleground was good for the character. Now Owens has a goal, has a purpose to overcome. Now that he couldn't defeat Cena when he said he could." Yet there's reports now that Kevin Owens is now not going to be on the main roster I mean, the main event roster. Now it's going to be delegated to the upper mid card scene to the point where some people in the back want to see him fail. Where are those people now? Exactly. You got nothing. Shut the fuck up. But anyways, what I expect from SummerSlam, I expect it to be a big extravaganza. I'm hearing there's going to be a 4-hour. It's going to be a 4-hour event. I hope not, because maybe it's going to be an hour-long pre-show than the 3 hours. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. But I expect it to be a good show, hopefully, with Taker and Lesnar headlining. I don't like Cena involving himself with Rollins right now, because they're going to try to make Cena go the safe route, because Rollins as champion hasn't been drawing great ratings, haven't been drawing some low ratings, actually. And they may be wanting to give the title back to Cena to get them back up, which is stupid, because Cena himself is not the draw he once was back in 05, 06, 07, 08. Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be a mixed bag. Let's put it that way. Quincy Brown asked, will there be a Sting versus Undertaker match at WrestleMania next year? All signs to me point to yes. They have to do it. They have to do it. Vince and Triple H can't be stupid to not have Sting and Undertaker on the same company, contractually. Ugh, sound like Porky Pig tonight. Contractually obligated on the same company, and you don't do it. That's the dream match. And if it's going to be Undertaker's retirement match, make it Sting. I mean, storyline-wise, it would make sense with Kane, but I want to see the dream match. Sting versus Undertaker. I don't care if they're 50, 55 years old. I really don't give a shit. Taker, Sting. We want to see this match for a decade and a half. Just give it to us. Stop being douches. Stop being dicks. Stop being faggots about the situation, and just give us the dream match finally. Will Dark Magician cash in his Road to Destiny briefcase and become the Impulse Champion sometime? It's possible. He has until Animania 4 to do so, so we'll see where that goes. And finally, did you watch all 3 Sharknado movies on Sci-Fi? I have not watched any of the Sharknado series. I've seen the memes about it, but I've not watched the full movies of it. I probably won't be able to or want to. Just gonna be honest. Charles Bells asked, let's see here. If someone had never seen an ACW show before but wanted to start watching, what would be the first thing you recommend they watch in your opinion? So you're saying for a first-time viewer that wants to really get into ACW, what show would I recommend them to watch? Some will say Animania 3, because it was regarded as one of the best mega events ACW's ever done. Some will say Animania 2 for the nostalgia, although I think Animania 2 is starting to show its age a little bit now, but that's also another one you can check out. Let me see, what else? Honestly, I think also No Boundaries from last year as well is something that you would check out as a first-time viewer. Because that was last year with No Boundaries, Goku versus Gohan, Trunks versus Vegeta, Broly versus Ryu. I liked that mega event a lot, so I think that's another mega event you might want to check out if you're a first-time ACW viewer sometime in the future. 2, were you angry that everyone knew who Samus's masked attacker was long before the reveal of who it was? No. And I love people assuming that I was mad about it, because I wasn't. I gave those hints for a reason. I was doing it on purpose. I knew people would know about the attacker before I revealed it. I knew about that. Again, I've been doing this for 10 years. I know what I'm doing. I know how to be subtle and be blatant, or even both. I know how to do those tricks. Hell, you guys have been watching ACW last year, but I bet you didn't even know some of the little things that I did on ACW last year. And now you're going to probably search and find everything. But go ahead. I did some little things here and there. So, 3, how long do you think TNA has left before it closes? You know, we've been doing the whole TNA death clock thing for years. It's just kind of getting old at this point. I don't think TNA is going to be dying soon. I may think that TNA may be relegated to just a glorified indie. It's possible. Although I heard Ring of Honor just lost their 8 p.m. time slot on Destination America. So it's only going to air on the 11 o'clock replay that they normally would have had. I've heard no rumblings yet from TNA or Destination America about them looking to part ways or giving any hints about them parting ways. I know it's a business and they won't probably say much, but I've gotten no dirt sheet hints about it, and if they are, it's just probably the same old report in a different way. So, and we're heading to August now, and September is supposed to be when that whole TNA, the Destination Outlaws for TNA was supposed to happen. So, I haven't heard anything about it yet. Maybe that was us reading into it a bit too much, but we'll see. If they lose their TV deal, it's going to be really hard to find another channel, I'll tell you that. Because going from Spike to Destination America was already a downgrade. Where do you go from there? You might as well have taken the WGN deal, which was just to not air any shows in the springtime and come back in the summer as a reboot. You might as well have done that. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes in September, most likely. And 4, could you see Hulk Hogan become like Chris Benoit? Two people who did horrible things, yet still have fans who like them, their match in the in-ring work. Okay, we need to stop this right now, and I want this to be clear as can be. The Hogan situation and the Benoit situation are two different things. Hogan said some outlandish, racist, ignorant things that have caused him to be in the hot seat. Chris Benoit, alleged my ass, Chris Benoit killed his wife and his child. For you to equate racist language to premeditated murder is an insult to Nancy and Daniel Benoit and an insult to wrestling fans in general. Because how much do you want to bet? How much do you want to bet if John Cena or Randy Orton was in Benoit's situation at that point, that you guys wouldn't be defending them as hard as you do with Chris Benoit, because Chris Benoit was arguably the greatest technical wrestler of all time, because his moveset was great, because he had great matches. But your hate for Cena and Randy Orton wouldn't do that for them to defend them that hard. So miss me with the bullshit, okay? Benoit and Hogan did horrible things, but Hogan's can be repairable. Benoit's can't. Got it? Charles Johnson asks, what is your favorite current rock band? That's an interesting question. I'm not even a rock kind of guy, but I do listen to certain bands. Like I'm very diverse with music. So I'm not a expertise on the rock kind of current rock going on. I guess you can say let me see. Rock, huh? I've always liked Motorhead. I've always liked their music. Not just for the WWE stuff, but just them in general. I liked some of their music. Creed back in the day I used to like. POD. Some Metallica, not all of it. Nirvana. Let the hate start. I don't know if this would be more contemporary rock than it is real rock, but Coldplay. I'm a huge fan of Coldplay. I think Chris Martin is one of the best frontmen in his own genre in a while, so I'm a huge fan of Coldplay, so there's that too. So those are some rock bands that I kind of like, named in that way. 2, who wins in a rap battle, J. Cole or Lupe Fiasco? Lupe. And I love J. Cole, don't get me wrong, but Lupe would win. And I don't think people know this. I don't think people know this, but my favorite rapper of all time is Tupac. Just for the whole overall, his impact, his influence, his words, his lyrics, his songs that are still relative to this day. Tupac's my favorite rapper. So when he died, I didn't have that guy. When Pac died, I didn't have that guy to levitate. I didn't have that guy, that rapper, that I could say, he's my dude. He speaks for me. He's that guy that can speak to my soul. I didn't have that guy for a while. And then Lupe Fiasco came on the scene with Food and Liquor. And then he came along with even better with The Cool. And I was like, you know what? That Lupe Fiasco, that's my dude. When I listen to Lupe, I don't get a I haven't felt that connection with someone since Pac when I listened to Lupe, and now that's started to become Kendrick Lamar with me too. And now, like after Lupe, it's starting to become Kendrick for me. So maybe being a little biased here, but I think Lupe would win a rap battle. I think so, and I like J Cole. Don't get me wrong. I think J Cole has improved greatly from his career, but overall, Lupe. If you want proof about it, if you want proof, go listen to Failure about Lupe Fiasco. People still to this day are dissecting every single line from that song. Go try it. 3. Have you seen MCWL Revival? And if you did, what do you think about it? I have not seen MCWL Revival yet. Again, I'm trying to keep up with all the calls that I've missed, all the anime that I've missed. Jesus. Now that I have free time from school, now that I'm done with summer school, I can actually start watching some anime again. So, I'm going to try to catch up on them. I haven't even watched the ACW Aftermath from Blessed on Thursday, so I'm going to be doing a lot of that this week. Don't worry. See, William Simeon asked, "Hey Hakeem, lately I've been asking you serious questions, but now I got an also serious question for you. Do you think Trevor Noah will be doing fine as a host of The Daily Show after Jon Stewart leaves the show come August 6th? Well, let me say this. It's going to be a sad day in America when Jon Stewart leaves The Daily Show, because whether you're a liberal or conservative, it really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm neither. I'm neither conservative or liberal. But Jon Stewart brought a point in the political satire that has not been matched really yet. And don't get me wrong, I like me some Stephen Colbert. Larry Whitmore's doing a pretty good job with the Nightly Show. John Oliver is doing all right, but none of them really, in my opinion, match the essence and the comedic timing and the political satire that Jon Stewart brought on the Daily Show. And it's gonna be sad when he leaves. It really is. As for Trevor Noah, let's be honest. Whoever was gonna replace John was gonna have big shoes to fill. Okay, they were gonna have big shoes to fill anyways. So we'll see. It's gonna probably be rocky. Like Trevor Noah hosting is gonna be rocky for the first couple of months, but he'll get to the groove of things, and then the crowd will get to the groove of things, and it should be, you should get used to it. So I'll give him a chance. I saw his appearances on The Daily Show. He's pretty good. I'll give him a chance. Let's see, Daniel Vasquez Delgado. Let me see if I can see this harder. Daniel Vasquez Delgado. Okay, there you go. Which WWE superstar do you hate? Man, hate is a strong word. I really don't like using the word hate, because hate, just like love, is a word that is very strong, that has a lot of implications. Well, I'll say least favorite. Least favorite of all time, huh? Let me see here. I wasn't a big fan of Lex Luger. I'm thinking of Lex Luger. I wasn't a big fan of his, especially in WCW. I thought a guy like Luger was trying to be a babyface when he was clearly meant to be a heel. Whether that was, he should have never turned heel. I mean, he should have never turned face against the Four Horsemen. He should have just stayed with them after Wyndham. Yeah. No, Wyndham was after Luger, actually. Yeah. And then him trying to go after the NWO, it's like, Luger's a narcissistic prick. He would be joining the NWO. He should have joined the NWO from the get-go. So, wasn't really big on Luger. Wasn't big on Hogan, and this is even before this whole scandal that broke out. I was more of a Savage guy than I was a Hogan guy. Let's put it that way. I really did not like Jerry Lawler in the mid-90s. That dude was annoying as shit. I mean, it wasn't even a good kind of heel way. It was just annoying as fuck. So I wasn't a fan of Jerry Lawler back then either. I really used to hate Cena back in like 07, 08, 09ish, 010. But now it's just kind of like I'm used to it. I don't hate Cena now. I just don't like his character. I don't like what he does behind the scenes in the company. But he seems like a good guy. He seems like a great guy to have a drink with or talk to about stuff. He seems like a genuine good guy. So those are just some names that I'm coming up with. Let's see, Matthew William Higuera asked, Oh, I'm sorry. Just call me Matt E. Dangerously instead on Newscast. Thank you. Okay. Anyways, what is your personal thoughts on NCA by Justin Reed? I enjoy NCA for what it is. NCA is one of those leagues that doesn't take itself too seriously. It is what it is. Like, it reminds me of SMF with Bob Ross. That's what it reminds me of. SMF never really took itself seriously. It was a comedy league, and people would love it and hate it. That's kind of what I see with NCA. I think Justin does a great job trying to. I think Justin does a great job trying to make his league different, but not different in the sense of being different, but just different in the sense of that's what his league is about. So I do enjoy NCA from time to time. I really do. I think Justin does a good job about it. What are your thoughts on the UCCW G1 Climax tournament so far? It's going alright. Although I do gotta be honest though, and this is not just your league, but it's with other leagues I'm seeing lately. I'm getting tired of lately there's been a tournament craze. There's been a lot of leagues are just doing tournaments just for the sake of doing tournaments. I don't really do that. The only tournament that I do is the elite tournament every off season. That's why I don't do tournaments in the regular season, because you don't want to oversaturate that aspect to the point where people stop not wanting to see it anymore. So it's been a good tournament so far, but I'm just kind of getting tired of the whole tournament craze that's been going on in CW lately. 3. What do you think about War of the Universe? I gotta kind of echo with some people saying that what is the whole purpose of War of the Universe? Because you really haven't. I mean, I see the build up and I see where you're going with it. You're trying to have like a little bit of an environment like back in the WWF back in 96, 97, 98, when it felt like every stable in that company was just in an all-out gang warfare. I get where you're going with that, but you need to explain more clear, and you need to just be more precise about what is the purpose of the War of the Universe. Like, we know who's facing who has a gripe with who. We know the stables are going at each other, but we need to know what's the ultimate purpose. That's just it. Just tell the ultimate purpose. So, but looking forward to it. So, I actually did watch Friday Night Showdown, the latest one. I liked the Ogre Grave Robber match. It was a pretty good main event. So, how is the business going with DCA so far? Just curious, since D Wall is a cool friend I talked to, and I was wondering how things are going. It's been going great. DCA, I told D Wall this, but I think I did, but DCA has given me an extra jolt. It's given me an extra sense of optimism with CAW lately, and I'm just proud to be a part of the DCA family. And Proving Ground 2 was awesome. Once again, if you have not watched Proving Ground 2, make sure you do so after this newscast. It was truly a great mega event. It really was a great mega event. Let's see. Serious question here. Is WWE doing the right way of removing anything about Hulk Hogan, and why? I kind of just already said that with my Hogan rant, but I don't agree with it. I agree with them distancing themselves from Hogan. I agree with them distancing themselves from Hogan about the situation and not mentioning him anymore and removing him from certain things here and there. I don't agree with them full out erasing his name in history, because it's Hulk Hogan, the biggest name in wrestling history. You just don't do that. You can't. He's not some ham and egg like Chris Benoit when he did shit worse. Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan, the biggest star in wrestling history. You don't just erase 20 to 30 years of that for this incident. You just don't. I'm sorry. Let's see. Damn, I got a lot of questions here, but I'm almost done here. Vinny Cristione, aka VPAC, asks 2 questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate the New Day? The fact that you only put that scale from 1 to 10, you should be ashamed of yourself. For those that don't know, I fucking hate the New Day. I already mentioned it earlier in this newscast, but I hate the New Day. To have 3 talented young dudes come out there every week to do that type of gimmick insults me. It insults my intelligence. Because everyone knows they can do better. Everyone knows. And if anything, if you were going to group them, you should have just went with the new Nation of Domination gimmick anyways. But in a way that would relate to today's society. But no, you don't do that. You want to just make them goofy ass church preaching Negroes. Alright, that's fine. And 2, have you ever seen Distant Worlds music from Final Fantasy? No, I have not. If you have a link for it, if you have a link you want to send me, I can check that out. But no, I have not seen it. Personally, I haven't. Garak Weevil from Battle X asked, out of all the JSA members you've made, who is your favorite? Who's your least favorite? To be granted, I hate all of them. I hate all the JSA. But if I have to pick one that I can tolerate out of everybody, I'd say Zero. I can tolerate him the least. Um, the one least favorite, that's Gohan. That's not even a hard question. That was easy as hell. Two, will we be seeing a Satoru Iwata tribute show, or at least a pre-Animania show to take place in the Brawl for All this year? Probably not. I mean, I don't want it to get to the point where I feel like I'm exploiting Iwata and his death. I've kind of just made my subtle hints here and there with my tribute to Iwata. So, what I can say though is that I will be posting a tribute video for Iwata on the Ground Show pre-show for ACW Direct. I will be doing that. But for a whole tribute show, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I just wouldn't do that. So, 3. Not to self-promote myself, but what is your favorite Battle X match so far, and have you have any ideas for me since I am on the writer's block a bit? Battle X match. Oh shit! What was the one where Tarbo won the what is it, the Triple X Division match or whatever? Was it that? Whichever one that was my favorite match. I'm kind of blocked because you haven't posted any Battle X shows in a minute, so it's taking me a while. But yeah. As for your ideas, listen, everyone has writer's block. That's just kind of natural when you do CAW, or if you're just a creative person in general. That's why I take off seasons. That's why I take like 3 to 5 months off from ACW to refresh my mind, so I don't get stuck in a rut to where it affects the product of the show and the league. So that's why I do that after every Animania. So what I would just tell you is that don't rush it, don't try to rush it. Just calm down, take a deep breath, maybe go over some matches and storylines from wrestling companies, and try to make it your own, and go from there. If you can't think of anything yourself, but calm down, don't rush it, because when you start rushing it, it makes everything even worse. 4. Do the crowds constantly boo Ike and Marge just because they are Jesse, or is it because they are the worst bodyguards ever? I don't know. I will say that it was funny that Ryoko took them out at Apocalypse, so that was pretty funny. That was quite funny. But apparently Ike and Mars were able to handle Ryoko at 64, so I guess they were useful for that. And what is your biggest pet peeve in CAW? Ooh, there's a lot of them for that. One of my biggest pet peeves is people relying on extreme spots and high spots and weapons to carry them into a match. If it fits the match and it fits the story and it fits the wrestlers doing it, that's fine. When I'm seeing colleagues do that for almost every match, for storylines that don't call for that kind of match, it irritates me because that's not good psychology. And honestly, another pet peeve is the lack of psychology that I see in colleagues today. I truly believe one of the reasons why ACW continues to grow with its fan base, or at least with fans in general, because we're able to explain a clear story, even sometimes multi-layered, but it all comes back to one central point. You look at the Giant Saint Alliance, and I'll just say this. I bet people didn't know, if I didn't say this just now, but I bet people didn't know that the Giant Saint Alliance is nothing more than an extension from the Saiyan regime. So if you want to really be honest, that storyline's been going on for a year and a half. I just made the transition that smooth. But people don't implement that. People just assume that their fans will know what they're doing, but they don't. That's why they need you to be there to make a clear path for them to understand that. When you just have them guess on their own, it creates all sorts of confusion. That's not good for anybody. So those are just some pet peeves I have. I have a lot more, but we don't have enough time for all that. See, Adam Phoenix, Adrian S. I hope I said that right. Also, owner of NJCW. Make sure you guys check them out. Subscribe to them on YouTube. They said, besides Aaron, who's your pick in the Young Lions Cup? Gotta say Ricochet's a favorite. Well, that's because I'm a mark for Ricochet. I like Ricochet. He's a high flyer that isn't a typical high flyer, if that makes sense. What's my pulling for though? Alex Shelley. I've always been a Shelley fan too, so maybe Alex Shelley would be one I would be pulling for. And he also asked thoughts on the return of old feds like MCWL, ICCW, TXW, SMF, possibly coming back, and so on. I love it. I think these call leagues that have been gone for a while, that are trying to come back now, it's good for the call leagues out there. It's good for the industry in general. You know, I remember back then in the golden age, I've been a part of call for a long while. Even when I wasn't doing ACW in the beginning, I've been watching call for a while. So I remember those days. ICCW, SMF, No DQ, Call, Slam and Jam. I remember those leagues, and you know, it's kind of cool to see some of them coming back and just kind of, you know, help others out, and in itself just provide entertaining shows. So I'm happy to see where that leads. Let's see. Will Ogaville asked, do you think I have a future in UCCW, CCL, or any league as a call wrestler? What I would tell you is that be consistent. You'll always have success. You'll always have some sort of success, but just be consistent. Don't be like everybody else, and try to make sure you're clear and precise in what you want to say and do. That's the advice I can give you. Alright, and John Blackos will close out this by saying, have you ever played Five Nights at Freddy's? No, I have not. I really haven't. I really haven't, but not saying that I wouldn't, but I just haven't. And let's see, he also asked, have you ever considered being a call wrestler? And by that, I mean having your character in a call league. Yeah, I've clearly considered that before. I've clearly considered doing like some sort of call league. Like some sort of call wrestler joining a call league, you know. But I think, and as much as back then I used to really not like original call feds, but I'm starting to grow a affirmation with them. But I think fantasy call league is just something I love doing more. It's just I have more control, I have more creativity to just put things out there for me. So, but I have thought of that before. Stay tuned, by the way. So, that'll be it for the newscast Q&A portion. Thank you so much for sending in your questions and comments to me. If you want to send your questions and comments to me once again, just make sure you can post it under the comments section of Facebook. When we do ask for newscast questions on our Facebook page, you will be able to send it on our comment section below. So make sure you do that. And that'll be it for the newscast this time around. I haven't given you guys a newscast in a while, so I thought I was kind enough to do so. Make sure you guys check out DCA Proving Ground 2. Please, please, please do that. Please. It was a really great mega event that Josh Carter and I commentated on with a lot of surprises and shockers. So please go check out that mega event if you haven't already. Ground Zero is this week. The pre-show, which will be ACW Direct for Ground Zero, will be this Wednesday. This Wednesday will be the pre-show, the ACW Direct episode of Ground Zero. And then Ground Zero will obviously be this Friday night, headlined by Aang versus Akuma for the XL title, inside a inside a Hell in a Cell. There you go. And this will be our second Hell in a Cell match in company history, so you do not want to miss that. So, and also, there's going to be more big news to be coming out from ACW. A lot of good news coming out for ACW in the next coming days. So please stay tuned for that. I know that you guys are going to enjoy. I'm certain you guys are going to enjoy the news that we're going to be coming out with in a couple of days. So just stay tuned for that. But other than that, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my chow mein because I love me some chow mein. Whoa! Okay. Anyway, it's clearly time to end the newscast. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm Hakeem Johnson, the commentator. Once again, to tell you guys to stay cool. Stay cool. My chowman and I say goodbye.